Quick way to check your distributor, see if your Hall sensor kaput. Grab your old distributor or new distributor that you know is good, and basically do not remove that one yet until you confirm that the Hall sensor on this one is kaput. So you just unplug and plug it in right here to your other one. It doesn't have to be on the engine, just like that. And then once it's plugged in, turn your key on, like yay. Unplug your coil wire from your distributor cap, put it there so that it grounds. You can see the spark, and then just grab this and spin it. You're gonna spin this, the new one that you want to test, and there you go. I don't know if you can see that, but it's sparking, and I can hear the electric fuel pump kicked on. Okay, if you have no sparks, your electric fuel pump will only kick on when you turn the key, but it will not continue to run until you get sparks. Once you have sparks, you have fuel pump operation. All right, so we're gonna mark this one, and now we're gonna put this one on and mark it, make a mark on this one, so that if it does ever fail, because this is 30 something years old, and if it ever does fail, I'll just, 10 minutes on the freeway, done. You align your marks, you should be in time. Replacing the distributor with a new one, Chinese, because I can't get these original Bosch. They're not available anymore. They're just not available. Bosch. Yeah, this is for the 16 valve. So the Hall sensor went out, and I got stuck on the side of the freeway. We had to tow it over here to the house, and I had a feeling it was actually the Hall sensor, which is that little thing right there. This is part of it, obviously, and basically determined, yep, that's what it was, because I had a spare. One of these from Passat. They're identical. Put it on, and it fired right up. So the Hall sensor kicked the bucket on this. This is 35 years old. 35 years old, and this new distributor that came in, this guy, it's freaking loose. It's like on the shaft right here. It's like without the distributor head turning, or the shaft turning, it's like clink, 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 clink. It's loose. So I already measured these holes, this hole and that hole, and they're just way too big. So it's slop. And I don't want slop in my engine, my high precision engine. Whatever. So I grabbed a Porsche distributor, which I'm probably never going to use. Probably worth some money, but whatever. And remove the drive using punches and the press. Otherwise, you'll never remove it. You need one of those. Anyways, so I'm moving this guy to this guy. And you would say, why don't you just move this guy, this bad distributor, over to there? Well, here's the thing. I want to rebuild this one and have it as a spare. So far, this one is, well, it's new and everything, but it's Chinese. So, you know what I'm saying? I want to have something spare in case it goes out. The one that's in the car right now, the GTI, it's the one from the Passat, but that's also like 33 years old instead of 35. 35, the other one's 33. So it's probably going to go out pretty soon. So Chinese figure I have this as a spare, and this will be my third spare, once I order the Hall sensor. But I'm going to get the Hall sensor that has all the pickup right here and not that shit over there. See? It's got wires and stuff in there that you can see that little wire. Barely see it. But there's wires going to the back and all that stuff. And this is just more simple. Let me show you. Ta-da! Anyways, the Hall sensor is right here, right next to the connector. Versus connector, Hall sensor is over here. You say, oh, but you're going to have to change your wires. No, it doesn't matter, because the window is exactly the same area where the Hall sensor is, over here. So if this Hall sensor is over here, it's exactly the same. You don't change anything because it's still pointing in the same direction as the new one. There's nothing. It doesn't matter if it's there or there. Your ignition, it's not going to change. So we're going to replace this one into there, and then I'm going to order that and replace the Hall sensor for that one, so that way I have 3 of them. I'm going to be carrying one of them in the spare tire in case it breaks down. All I need is a 10 millimeter, and as long as I like right now, I'm going to take the one that's in the car, take it off, and I'm going to put this one in and get it all timed in, and then I'm going to make some nail paint for to make marks, so that, you know, if it ever does fail, I'll just align those marks with this and the engine block or the head, and I don't have to use a timing gun. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to pre-do that and just have that as a spare because I don't trust the other one over there. It's in. This one doesn't require, this new Chinese one does not require the punch. The pin will just slide right out. So everything went back together really nicely. The slop in here, see if I can grab it right. The slop in here, you can see there's that much. Okay, before it was like 10 times more than that. So that was unacceptable. That much slop, it's acceptable. It's like, it's a hair of a degree. It's not much. It translates into a hair of a degree, which is really nothing. This one we're going to go ahead and remove, and this one is in there really good, so we're going to use punches and the press to get it out. You won't get it out even if you have punches and sledgehammer. It ain't going to happen. Okay, so just get a punch remover. It looks like a U, like a horseshoe, and it's got a lever that you turn, and you turn it and you turn it, and it just goes and it pushes it out. You can do it that way, but basically I don't have that, so I'm going to use my press. All right, so as you can see, I'm using the standard press thing adapters or blocks of steel, whatever, and then I'm using this little shim because these guys on that side will hit here, so it'll be cockeyed. So socket, and it's ready to go, really. You just press on it. That's good. Make a loud bang like that. But it didn't move, so do over. Nope. So this is where we're at. Okay, this one's done, obviously. Okay, this one, in order to get this thing in here, I need to actually grind this little opening a little bit bigger so that I can get the socket closer in here so that I can grab the pin. Because what's happening, it's pushing away because of these edges. The socket is pushing away, and I'm no longer centered, and the pin's gonna hit the very tippy top of this thing. So and not only that, it just explodes because it's not centered perfectly. So we have to basically, grind that off. I'm gonna use a mill kind of on the Dremel. Okay, that's what we ended up with. See how it is? Okay, look at the original. Okay, so that's what we had to do. Okay, this feels much better. Seriously, I don't think you can get this out, punching this out with a hammer or a sledgehammer. It ain't gonna happen. So you need a press. You need a press, or you need that U thing that you can just screw in, and the thing will just go down and press into it. The little U clamp. It's like a U clamp, but it's a U clamp press. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's stable now. Doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. See, it bang. All right, we're through. We're going through it, man. Okay, right there. It's actually not that difficult once you stabilize it, but if it's not stable, till I did that, it just wasn't gonna be stable. It just goes, everything just breaks. So now I'm just gonna get my thing out and get a smaller punch, or carbon steel punch, and continue to push it out. I can't push it out because it gets thicker and thicker up here, so that's why. So Okay, so I just got a smaller punch so that I could punch all the way through, because the other one will get stuck in the inside here. Inside here. Man, it's gonna be a mother effort to get it out, as I just found out. So next size down on the punch. Okay, there we go. Oh, that was it? I guess it was almost out. So, let's see. Boom. Now, before you do this, make sure you mark your thing so that you know where the angled, or not angled, but off center thing is. So these guys are like, these two little dimples are like, not dimples, but you know what I mean, are this way. So there's a couple of marks right there telling me how this thing goes. So, all right. Oh, look at that. Look at that. The washer that goes here is completely destroyed. It's not a washer. It's like a, almost like a friction disc or something to hold oil. You can use regular washers afterwards. You don't need to use that junk because it's going to break off anyways in the future. Just so you can see what I use to keep this guy from sinking inside. Because that was one of my problems. It just kept sinking away from the little socket that's down here. So in order to keep it, well, going that way, not going inside, basically what I used, there we go. The rotor, and then two washers right here. And that kept it from rising and, my socket not being able to enter in this area right here. So that's what it is. So it has one of these, it's got one of these, and it has a friction disc. It's not a friction disc, but because it holds oil. Okay, anyways, the new one, all it had is just washers on the bottom and washers on the top. That's it. So I don't know what's going to be here. Let me see if I can take it apart. Of course not. Not with one hand. Nope. So it has like a washer spacer, and it had another one of those, well, one of these washers on the other side, but it broke into a million pieces. Where did I? Oh, I threw it into the garbage. Yeah. So it takes one of these here and another one here, but we're not going to use that. We're just going to use regular washers. It'll be fine. So the reason a lot of people don't put these back on is because, oh, look at that, there's another washer down here. Yeah, there you go, another washer. Okay, I didn't know that. And where's the one that I took off? Oh, I thought I had another washer there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, and this one. So basically, there's two, that disky thingy, and one disky thingy on the other side. I know, it's my own terminology. What can I say? It's pretty bad. But the reason what happens when those things break away, those little, let me see if I can get close. Anyways, once this breaks away, this thing in here will rise and hit over here in this area, will hit that, and next thing you know, your engine shuts off and this part is broken off. That is very typical for a 16 valve to do that, and that's because the friction disc broke off. So this is why I don't recommend you use the friction disc. Just put a washer in there, you'll be fine. So 3 on the bottom and 2 on the other side. That should take all the slack out. You might have to play around and find the washers that are proper thickness, and you should be fine. You're fine. Now this one, yeah, it was leaking oil. Leaks oil right here. So I'm gonna buy the kit to replace the Hall sensor, because this Hall sensor is kaput. It's no good. So, and the seal is under this washer. Now this washer, all you do is just grab a screwdriver, go underneath it, and just raise it up, and then raise it up, and then continue around, raise it up, and it'll just pop right out. and then replace. Same thing with the seal. Use your screwdriver, bring it up, and then put the seal on with the socket, you know, appropriate size. Boom, boom, boom. Put it in, and then this thing, you know, you can straighten it out with your hammer. You know, like ding, 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 nice and straight. Put it back on, and then slam it back in there. It will go back in the aluminum area, and then walk away from it, and then put your washers, appropriate amount of washers, like this one we use 2 washers, or you could use 1 washer that's a little thicker than that. That's very thin. This one only has 1 washer on the top and 2 washers on the bottom. So I mean, whatever, as long as it doesn't go up and down. This thing doesn't go dun, 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 dancing like that, you'll be fine. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the hall sensor because I want to see if it what the hell happened to it. Maybe there's a broken wire or something. I don't know. Never know if it's actually repairable. Never know. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off right now. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Take this off if it lets me. Okay, I already checked it out. I couldn't find any broken wire or anything like that, so I'm assuming that the problem is probably in here, because I believe there's a transistor like built into this with this magnet. And yeah, it probably went poof. So unless there might be like a broken wire in here, I don't know. Although let me see if I can get really close. Oh, look at that. It'll actually do it. As far as those little windows, I mean, this thing is all over the map. This is original, what do you call it? German. And I mean, these windows are all over the map. They're not consistent. Look, 16, 11. Let's do the next one. See what this one becomes. There you go, 1578. See what I mean? They're just all over the map. $16. See this one. $15.55. I mean, it's literally just all over the map. This Chinese is perfect all the way around. I believe all of my little windows are 90. Right around there. All my windows on that distributor. So if I was going, I'm definitely gonna go with that. You know, keep that, because what I was thinking was, because one of the major problems that you know, people at the websites are saying is that the Chinese windows, they're all over the map, and not that one. And the original ones are a lot better. And now that I measured this one is junk compared to that one. So, but I was thinking of grabbing this one and moving it over to that one, but that one's superior to this one. So I'm just gonna leave it. It's better ignition stability for, you know, really high power, because that'll have an effect at really high power, like 7,000 RPMs and above. It'll definitely have an effect if it's like this one, like this German one that's all over the map. That one will be more stable, so for better high revving engines. Anyways, yes, my engine can rev up to 8,000. It has the dual high pressure springs, all that shit. Okay, that had been, they did a lot of work to that, especially the valves. The valves are specific to flow a lot of air. They're not the stock ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and order this, and then we'll put it back together when I get the parts. But so far, that one's, I'm gonna put that in my car and just leave it in there with the 10 millimeter little wrench. That's all I need to get it to go. Putting it back is just the reverse. You're probably still gonna need a press. So we're gonna remove these 2 bolts right here, this one and that one. This is so easy to install and I mean uninstall and reinstall. These are so simple. I can't believe how simple this thing is. I mean, I could literally do this on the side of the freeway. I ran ahead and removed the connector for the air valve. Yeah, that air valve is very important on your 16 valve if you're, you know, California emission compliant. Put a rag right here, because there's going to be a pool of oil that's going to ooze out, and that oil is going to go everywhere. So obviously you're on the side of the freeway, you don't give a shit. So, oh yeah, my distributor is pointing up, so the new one's also going to be pointing up in a similar location. Oh, there goes the oil. Ew. Okay, where's my new one? Oh, there's my new one. There's my new one. Okay, I gotta spin it up. Like, yay. I'm gonna need both hands for that. Okay, distributor on. Yeah, you definitely need 2 hands for that. Put the bolts back on. There's 2 bolts that you can put here, somewhere around here, and somewhere down here. Make sure you put it in the correct location. Otherwise, you won't be able to turn your distributor when you're trying to put it in time. It'll be, you're going, what the fuck? So that's pretty much it. Let me just put this on real quick. And we'll start the car. Probably going to start like shit, because it's not going to be on time. And we'll go ahead and time it with the timing gun. And yeah, I got it finger tight. What is that squeak? Oh, it's that. Oh, it's the water. Oh, the engine's hot because I've been running it. I've been doing a lot of errands. So now, oops, we're gonna have to remove this. And I gotta remove this guy. It's the transmission timing area. Yeah, this one's timed on the transmission, not the pulley. All right, we got it out. It's this thing. Okay. So we're gonna time through there. So while I was at it, I just added the new distributor cap, changed all my wires over. This one, oh God, it's seen better days. Those connections look pretty bad. More or less, I just guessed on the timing, but we got the timing gun, but let's see if it even starts. It should. Just got back from the store. Actually, Tool Harbor Freight, my favorite store. No problem so far. Sounds really good, actually. Oh, we're way off. Okay, way off. I'm gonna need both hands for this. Okay, I don't know if that'll come out on video, but it's at 8 degrees. I'm gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna mark the distributor. Okay, so we're done. So just marked it right there. That'll just give me a quick reference where it's gonna go. And then I staked it right on that edge, right there. So that way I know that it's in time. Right there, it's about 7, 8 degrees, somewhere in there. I was looking at the other distributor. This distributor that I was running right now, that we just took off, those windows, no wait, that's not it. Sorry. This distributor, Passat, this is the one this is in there right now. These windows are all over the map. Same thing. They're not, they're like that. They're big, small, big, small, big, small. They're just not consistent. That Chinese one is a little bit more, I don't know if it's going to be more reliable. But the timing was jumping a little bit more than these guys. So I don't know. But it was jumping less than a degree. It's not like it's jumping 1 full degree or anything like that. So, you know, that's probably because it still has a little slop right here. Here, you know, when it goes side to side. And not, you know, because obviously it's just loose in there, right? But I mean, when it turns, that one has a little bit more slop than this one. Let me see. No. This one has a little bit of slop also. Almost identical to the Chinese. Oh, I'm just going to leave it. Just leave it. I'm going to run to that one. If it goes out, I can just throw this one in real quick, and I'll be on my way. 10 minutes on the side of the road. Boom, boom, boom. I'm out of there. Big deal. All right, so I'm gonna carry this as a spare, and we're gonna order another one of these. But I'm gonna order the one from a Vanagon, so that this guy is over here. It's just it. So I've heard that the ones from a Vanagon are more reliable than these with the wires. So that's what I was told, but is that true? I don't know. But I'm gonna order the one from a Vanagon, so it'll go right there because the connector is identical, or this connector is identical. Okay, moving on. This is pretty much it for these distributors. If you wanted to know how to test them, take them apart, and get your MK2 back on the road. Okay, like wah, wah, wah. Chinese distributor, the Hall sensor, junk. The engine, when it's idling, it will literally cut out. Like, the reason I know is, like, I'll just grab a strobe light and do that. Oops. And when I hear the engine cut out, the strobe light stops working. But that's only for like a fraction of a second. It just stops. It matches the ignition. Hall sensor, junk. Although I will tell you this, it pulls like a motherfucker. That one has a very stable timing. I was just checking it, and it's pretty stable. So I think that's due to the wheel, the little windows. That one has a more stable ignition system. I pulled it up to 7,500 RPMs, and it pulled hard. So what I'm thinking is, oh dear God, maybe moving the wheel from there to the other distributor, maybe, or order a Bosch, one of those Hall sensors, and replace that one. Too bad. It's like, and then it goes, then it stops, and then again starts running. Like I said, it matches this when it does that. So that's the ignition cutting out, then starting to work again. Too bad. Oh well. I had high hopes for that distributor, but then again, it was only 26 bucks. I mean, what do you expect, right? 26 bucks. So I'm gonna actually put the other distributor back on the Passat distributor. I'll do it tomorrow because it's too dark right now. And I'll keep that one as a spare just to get me out of a pinch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Too bad. Inspecting the Passat one, it already has the Vanagon Hall sensor. So anyway, so I took it apart because I wanted to see what's going on with the wheel. And what I discovered is that this wheel is basically somebody tried to remove it by prying with screwdrivers and stuff, and that's what caused these things to bend inward or outward, causing these windows to be all over the map. So what I did, thinking outside the box, so found that hole right there. It's an appropriate hole. Put it in there, socket, put it on like yay, and then whack, whack, whack. That strained out the wheel because it was, when I was spinning it, I could tell it's going, wobbly. Now that it's straight, went ahead and measured that thing, and this is the average measurement that I have now. It's no longer all over the map. They're actually very, very within just a few hundreds of or thousands of the thing. So it's very close to 16. Every single one of these. So the window, to really fine tune it, I just had to grab plier and grab it from here and then pull them out or pull them in. And that got that thing dead on. So now when I spin it, this thing has equal size windows for the Hall sensor. All right, that's how I fix that. This one actually had the, oh, there it is. There it is. This little washer thing. That's what that is. Okay. That holds oil. Helps lubricate. However, my distributor, which is original to the car, had another one here. Well, technically, it had this washer right here. And then it had that thing right there, like yay. And then on the bottom, it also had one of these. And this one didn't. It only had that washer and that washer. And the slop, this thing was going up and down a lot. And I mean a lot. And I don't want that to happen. I want it to be within like 40,000s of, what do you call it? Not 40,000s. Maybe less than that. Maybe like half that. 20,000s, you know, moving up and down. And this is like 100,000s moving up and down. Oh, that was nasty. Okay, moving on. All right. Passat thingy. I'm just going to clean it, grease it, maybe put another washer so it doesn't move up and down too much, and run it, because now the windows are exactly the same. I added more shims. I actually stole them from this distributor because that thing was just dancing up and down a lot. So we already went ahead and pressed in the pin. So I'm just going to put this thing back on. Goes right here. Okay, so we're going to put it back on, and that's it. This concludes turning this shitty distributor into a performing distributor. All right. It looks like somebody had already worked on this because they made some lines. Those lines right there. See that one? And that one? They correspond to this. I just made a little dimple. That way I know. And cleaned up the interior. This seal on this distributor was not leaking. That one was leaking. That one was leaking. So that one needs a seal for sure. This one looks like it has been repaired. That's why it has a Vanagon halt sensor. All right. So we're going to put this back tomorrow. We got the wheel to be exactly the same. They're perfect. So now my ignition should be just as good as that Chinese one. So I guess it was made correctly, because it's just somebody, you know, grabbed some screwdriver and tried to remove this wheel to get to that, and then realized, okay, that can't be done. All right, we got the Passat distributor back on. I don't know if you can see that. You're not gonna be able to see that. I can see that. It's at 8 degrees. It dances about as much as the Chinese one. So, you know, as long as you change the engagement wheel on the bottom of the distributor, put one from a 009 or whatever Volkswagen distributor you might have from an air-cooled, you should be fine. They're identical. Other than that, the Chinese, the only problem is just it has an idle cutout. When it's idling, it cuts out for a brief second, and then it comes back on. And when it's running though on the freeway and doing power pulls, it runs just fine. It's just the idle, it cuts out. I was like, what the heck? Yeah, so yeah, Chinese, what do you want? All right, that is it. I'm going for a test drive. Adiós muchachos, adiós muchachos. I los guacho.